Hey, welcome back to the Comic Cosmos. Today we're reviewing Stargirl Season 1, Episode 12, and giving you an in-depth breakdown, Easter eggs, and theories on the episode. So if you haven't seen the episode, I really recommend you go watch the episode, because of course there'll be spoilers on the episode. Anyway, this was quite a big episode, as it sets up the season finale next week, so I hope you enjoy. Let's get into Stargirl Episode 12. So the previous episode focused on Courtney and her learning that her dad was actually not Starman, and she found out that her staff chose her because of her, not because she was Starman's daughter. And we also got to see Janitor Justin and learn more about him and his past, and of course the Injustice Society were just ready to start their plan. So this episode actually starts off with a recap, which is very different as no other episode has ever started with a recap. So I guess this is really showing us that these two episodes are very much two-parters, and this recaps everything that happened before. So we basically start off with 12 hours to go until Project New America starts, as we learn that the machine will brainwash all fully developed minds to basically think like the ISA and follow their orders. And obviously the people that don't get brainwashed, they will effectively use the brainwashed people to fight them off. So at the Dugan and Whitmore household, we see Courtney and Barbara getting ready to leave Blue Valley to regroup to devise a plan to stop the Injustice Society. And Pat takes Mike to the garage, where he wants to explain everything and show him Stripe. But as we see in the previous episodes, Mike is just getting really annoyed with never knowing what is going on. And he snaps at Pat, and we actually see a Sportsmaster versus Pat fight. And at the same time, Tigris actually shows up to fight Courtney, and we see them simultaneously fighting. And these were pretty cool scenes, and especially the cool things they did with the staff, and we see how effective it can be actually fighting on its own. And of course, Pat is pretty much beaten, and you can see Sportmaster isn't even trying his best. But Mike actually comes in with the drill, which was quite a funny thing as what they brought back, and he actually then shoves it into Sportsmaster's back, and Courtney also manages to fight Tigris, so basically a win on their parts. We then get a scene when Principal Bowen goes into her office and talks to her son, who is talking about how he's getting bullied, and she decides to kind of tell him more about who his father really was, or at least he wasn't just a normal guy. And she says that the way he got people to stop bullying him was he shoved the bow of his violin into someone's ear.
Because he took the bow of his violin and put it through one of their eardrums.
Eardrum, and yeah, this is definitely setting up what will happen next season regarding Isaac, and especially later in the episode when something happens, which I'll come back to later. We then see Henry Sr., who talks to Cindy, and he blames her basically for making him kill his son. I mean, man, you can't just go around blaming everyone. I mean, you actually did it. Anyway, he tells her that she's a failed experiment and her dad doesn't love her and that she'll never be a part of the ISA, and trying to make her really feel bad about herself. And I definitely think that she will escape next episode, and we probably won't see her until next season, as I definitely think there's more to this character that we'll see next season. Brainwave and Dragon King then test the machine for the ISA plan, and there were some very cool effects in this scene with the room, and we see the satellites which they built using the blueprints which Steven got earlier in the season. And Dragon King actually warns him that doing this, he may actually pretty much die or wish he was, but he still isn't even hesitant at all. We actually see throughout the episode that Jordan seems a little bit less determined as he usually is, and he decides actually not to tell his son anything, after his parents actually advise him to, as they say he deserves his birthright, which could be teasing that Cameron may get his powers in future seasons, which will be pretty cool to see. We then actually see that there's actually under 9 hours to go, so not much time left for the JSA to stop the ISA, and yeah, the episode feels like it really goes pretty fast from here. So Courtney, her family, and all the other JSA members all show up to a little cottage away from the ISA from finding them, and Sir Justin actually shows up.
I bring forth a feast, fit for kings and queens.
Up with all the things that really matter, the KFC. We then see a scene where Mike is jealous that Courtney has the staff, and he doesn't have powers in anything, and he actually tries using the staff, but fortunately for him, it doesn't work for him. But I think Courtney and Mike's relationship is getting a little better, as it went through a rough patch when Mike really wanted to know what's going on, and Courtney just wanted to protect him. We then actually see Sportsmaster and Tigris, who are getting over their defeat earlier, and Principal Bowen shows up to make sure that they actually succeed in killing Courtney and her family this time. And obviously they aren't happy about this, and she acts very arrogant and comments about their parenting methods, and yeah, Tigrish just shoots her with her bow, and I guess another ISA member getting killed by a fellow ISA member. Really doesn't seem like these guys get along very well. And this is obviously what teases more about Isaac Bowen actually taking on the mantle, which actually may set up in the finale to create hype for next season. Back at the cottage, we see Pat explaining to Barbara why he never told her beforehand about all his secrets. And he seems to give a good reason, as everyone who knew this secret was dead, and he wanted to leave that life behind him and protect his family. And I think this does help to protect their relationship, and we'll definitely see more of them later. We then see Rick trying to decipher his father's journals, like there's this equation and a code that he needs to find out, and Justin is a little interested. And I feel like everyone thought that he was going to be the one who found the number for the key, but it was actually Pat who found the number, which was he used from Owlman's car, the 66 Mustang. And that actually cracks the code, which turns out to be a map of the tunnels under Blue Valley, which lets them see all the different tunnels and entrances to the ISA HQ. So the JSA split up and go from different entrances to avoid detection. And then we get an interesting little scene where Beth and Barbara find the new constitution and the manifesto for Project New America by the ISA, which talked about making equality as stopping pollution, which really does seem like good things, but of course the main thing is that no matter how good it is, it'll actually end up killing 25% of all the people in half the country, which would mean that they kill 25 million people, and they would be killed by this plan. We then see the timer hits 30 minutes, and we then actually learn that the timer doesn't show when it starts, but rather when it hits 0, the plan of Project New America will actually be done. So this plan actually starts when the timer hits 30 minutes, and we see that it immediately starts to work as Pat, Barbara, and Justin, the first person we see that are obviously brainwashed. And obviously everyone with fully developed minds would be brainwashed, and probably in Blue Valley first. And Pat, who is actually in Stripe, starts to fight the JSA, and he is being controlled, and yeah, roll the credits. Just wow, a really exciting episode, and basically very much a first part, as it just sets up the finale episode, which will be really good. Yeah, all in all, this is a really good episode, which felt much more fast-paced than all the previous episodes, which was really fun, and just always leaving you on the edge of your seat. And yeah, I can't wait for the last episode, and which is actually the end of season 1 of Stargirl, which will be setting up even more to get us hyped about season 2, and hopefully you won't have to wait too long for that. Anyway, thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'd love to hear any of your thoughts you had on the episode, as well as any theories or Easter eggs you think we missed. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time, cheers.